Hello and welcome everybody to our launch event for Storyblok V2. I'm super thrilled to have you here, and today will be an evening, 1.5 hours of amazing demos, showcases, and amazing roundtable. And just to give you a quick overview of what's going on, I'll be giving a quick keynote without slides even, just talking about the history, because there is no future of storytelling without the past. And we'll have Arisa talking about content creation within the Storyblok V2, with Josephine talking about content organization. We have Sam talking about audience experiences, followed up by Sebastian talking all about tech inside Storyblok V2. And then we'll follow it on with a roundtable with our amazing Jonathan Cylinder from Big People. He's CTO and co-founder there. Katie McKnight actually will join us as well, coming from the content advisory as VP of strategy and consulting. Then our very own Barry Darcy will join directly to the roundtables, and actually he will lead the roundtable. Also with them will be Tamu Diaz, which is the solution architect at Education First, one of our beloved customers, and followed by another beloved customer, Janis Di Sordo, senior front-end developer at Marco Polo. And I'm super thrilled because they will be talking about the future of content experiences. And we wouldn't be here today without properly evaluating the market back in 2015, because back then, Alexander and I, we both looked into the market at an agency. We looked at the different content management solutions in the market, and to be honest, we didn't find anything that useful back then. We found some tools that we liked, that we really encouraged people to use, and we had one preferred solution that sadly ran out of business. So we had to look into more solutions, and we did that. We looked into most of them, we tried them, we noted down what we liked, we noted down what we didn't like, and then we tried to find something that fits into the category of we love, and we couldn't. So what we did actually, and what Alex did, and not so many people know about, and this is this quick history kind of session of the version 1, we actually built a prototype in PHP. So back in 2016, Alexander set up a prototype using PHP. A lot of reloading was going on, and we really fast realized that this wasn't the best option going forward. And I believe 2-3 days later, we introduced Vue.js, which is still powering Storyblok V2 today. But back then we used version 0.11. So even Evan didn't know about the huge success that Vue.js will come in the next couple of years. And we moved the backend to Ruby. So no more PHP on our side. Maybe on your side if you implement something on top of Storyblok's API, but for us, it's only Ruby and Vue.js in the backend, plus a little bit PHP here and there for image optimization. The first prototypes were launched to customers, and we actually launched the first website of Storyblok.com. Some of you might be familiar with Web Archive, and you might find our very first version back then. And on the very first site of Storyblok.com, there was a small but really meaningful Easter egg that Alex built into one of the images there. It's actually a small unicorn, because Alex always mentioned, hey, we'll become a unicorn, we'll get there one day. And I believed him. So here we are now, back in 2022, and there's been a lot going on. So when we started building this prototype even further, based on Vue.js and Ruby, the overall version 1 was then built purely with that, and we added more documentation. So we added Nuxt.js for documentation of the API. We added some smaller demos also with Nuxt.js. But most of the time we focused on building Vue.js components for version 1. Back in 2017, we didn't even have an image update. So we added the first component inside the setup to allow that. We then added an image service to optimize images. We then added more different field types, and believe it or not, there was no option for content types. There was only one root content type, which actually was named root, because Storyblok was started with the idea of everything should be a component within a larger root component. That is always the case. So the content types you're creating today were actually the first piece of the custom feedback we received from the first 100 people that have registered. And it's crazy to think about some of these actually work now with us at Storyblok itself. So highly recommend giving us feedback. We really read that. And we actually react on that as well. So in 2017, we then launched Storyblok.com. We got our first couple of users, we got our first couple of customers onboarded, and we launched Storyblok.com not just as a website, but actually also as a spin-off of an agency here in Austria. And so many of you might don't know, but the spelling error, Storyblok without the C, was actually not a mistake. It was a proper decision because the domain was already gone. So we had to work around it. And both Alex and me figured like, hey, we definitely get Google to recognize that we know, hey, Storyblok, it's not a typo, it's actually meant like this. And it turned out that after 4 weeks, it actually recognized Storyblok without a typo. So that was a huge success for us back in the days. And actually, when we launched that, the first 1,000 users also happened in the first 4 weeks. So even though Google believed we were a typo, more and more users registered and really liked that version 1 that we have built. It was a small prototype gone slightly larger. In 2018, we then relaunched our website. We added some more features on the website itself, including documentation, journeys. We added an article area where you can actually search for certain things, an FAQ area because we got quite a few frequently asked questions. And we added more features, including content pipelines and content stages, which are now basically used by most of our clients in the version 1 and now also version 2. We onboard more and more clients, and the clients got larger, so also their requirements towards the platform increased significantly. We added some more features like a complete asset management solution, where you can add tags to data entries, where you can add focal points to images itself. And we also introduced custom field types. Custom field types allows you to basically integrate in any other solution, so you can load data from an e-commerce solution and store that information coming back from there in Storyblok as an API. And so in 2019, really fast forward, we introduced webhooks next to the content pipeline, content stages. So it's been only 3 years since you can listen to a published hook, a safe hook, and content pipeline was published or stage was changed, webhook. And this was used because Vercel and Netlify actually got a huge push in 2019. I still remember hosting our first documentation site for the APIs also on Netlify. And now we even use Vercel and Netlify here and there for some of our pages. Even the V2, the first V2 landing page where you were able to register for a boarding pass for the rocket ship was built and hosted on Vercel using Next.js, which is crazy to think about that we are now mixing those all of those headless and technologies, including infrastructure providers such as them. We added workflow stages, so that replaced part of the content stages previously introduced in 2018. Within the workflow stages, you were able to give approval to certain people, approval rights to certain people. You were able to move workflow stages around, so having a translation stage, a reviewing stage, later on a ready to publish stage, and actually you were able also to customize it. And we actually decided to get our first funding. So we raised 2.5 million back in 2019 in December. We only announced it in, I believe it was February 2020. And we already hired the first couple of people. And some of them actually will talk today, including Sam, who will give a demo around basically audience experiences. So stay tuned. I'm not going to show you V2 myself today because I want to basically build the suspense a little bit. I know V2 is already out there. Some of you might not have seen it. Some of you might not even have seen version 1 before and might be completely new to Storyblok. But that is all right. Version 2 is such a big improvement, not just on the usability of the platform, but also in the way we can ship features faster. Because one thing that you need to remember, up until 2020, when we hired more and more people, it was just Alexander and myself building more and more features on top of version 1. And even though some people would say I'm not a bad developer, Alex is way better than that and way better than I am. And you should be happy that there is no more front-end code from myself in the new version 2. I looked into some PRs, but I did not contribute code myself in the front-end, still some code of myself in the back-end. But I can promise you the people working on the product team here are so much better than I am. how that I was. So highly recommend trying version 2. And that was in 2019 when we actually already had the idea of, hey, we should think about maybe restructuring something or have a proper design done on all of the user interfaces. So even though it was really nice to look at and it was working, performant, we had to feel that there's something missing. There's some, how should I say it, something unique missing that makes Storyblok look and feel like Storyblok. And it might be the speed, it might be the performance, it might be the use and look and feel of all the sections somewhat should be similar and not basically changed on some of the features that we got, those feature requests that we got. So in 2020, we not only launched another new website, and you might see the pattern here that every year we introduce a new website or at least a variation of the existing site. But we also started hiring properly. So we recruited a team of 24 amazing individuals. It was already close to 20 countries, quite distributed. We're still a remote company. We still do that because it actually works. So it's actually something that you could bring to your own companies as well. And suggest it might be working actually. So we started V2 design in 2020. So the first screens that Nicola designed back then were so nice to look at that all of us were like, oh, we need to start building that. We need to start the first prototypes. We need to find the first use case where we can start introducing new components, upgrading features and building on top of that. And it took us a while to find a proper use case without rebuilding everything from scratch, because that was actually what has been done with version 2. We have built everything from ground up, not just because it's nice to have or because it looks so much nicer. No, but it actually gives us more scalability and maintainability for all of our customers going forward. So instead of 2 people, 3 people, 4 people being able to maintain it, we have now a team of more than 40 people being able to actually maintain Storyblok.com, app.storyblok.com, and all integrations that we have built so far. And the best thing, our customers didn't have to upgrade. So all that was needed was to click this button in the interface in our beta version since 2021 to try it out. And now we are switching more and more customers over to the V2. So the first prototypes were built in 2020 with just a few buttons here and there. The site navigation has been built. And with 2021, we had more or less more and more designs ready. So we also started something else in 2021, and most of you have maybe heard about the 1.5 million partner fund, marketing fund that we have launched a couple of weeks ago, because that was the result of 1.5 years of partner work that has been done. We're now close to 1,250 registered partners that work with Storyblok on a daily basis. And the best thing about that is that Storyblok version 2 had its origin in the learning management solution that we've built for our partners. So the partner portal has been the first area that we have rebuilt in the V2 design and in the V2 look and feel. And for that, and I guess that's actually quite funny, we used Storybook. And many of you might have confused Storyblok with Storybook or heard that about that confusion on Twitter or other social media channels. We actually use Storybook at Storyblok, and we really like it. So if you visit blog.inc, you will see our open source design system. With that, we have built the version 2 of Storyblok. So we started implementing the partner portal in that area of time, so in February 2021. And we have then launched our complete learning management solution for our partners back then. We also started implementing more and more components into that design system, so we can then basically later on implement our screens and all of our UI elements based off those components. So if you look into our design system, you can see all of our small pieces that we have basically come together into app.storyblok.com version 2 now. And we actually increased the team to more than 100 people. We also raised another 8.5 million in 2021, and we prepared everything so we can scale faster and even serve more of our customers. So with 2022 now, so it's been 8 months or 7 months plus a few days, we have now been able to hire another 92 people. So we are now 192 people at Storyblok, and all of them are super thrilled about the version 2. We just had our team meeting earlier, and you should have seen the faces there. They're just amazing. And if you want to see the faces, we're still hiring, so feel free to join us anytime as well. And we have launched version 2 2 days ago. So on Tuesday this week at midnight CET, we launched Storyblok version 2, including, you guessed it, a new landing page. So every year by now, we have launched a new landing page, not just because it's so easy being done with Storyblok, but because it just makes sense. Storyblok, as it's getting not just older, but getting more mature, matured so much that in the last couple of years, we increased not just the team members, but the people working on the platform, people working on integrations, working with customers, with partners, with each other, that all of them are now coming together in this new version. And I'm super thrilled that next up will be Arisa, and she will be talking about everything surrounding Storyblok version 2 and content creation. Thank you so much for listening to my really, really quick look into the past and into the future, with the future being automation, personalization, and maybe a marketplace. And I will leave the teasering at this because there will be more news coming in shortly. See you soon. Up to you, Arisa. Thank you.